All right, here we go. Here we go.
Hey, folks, we right back at you one more time in brotherly love. You know how we do. Always trying to give you tools you can use. Uh, we have been bringing you what's going on in the political circuit here in the state of Maryland. And now we're going to make it just a little bit more local, even though we're not here to talk about the campaign, but we're going to let her do it anyway. But we're here to talk business with small business with Miss Denise Smith. Right now, the warrior lawyer, we don't know where
out there being loyally somewhere.
Yeah,
I don't know what's going on.
We don't know what's going. He's always getting on us.
I bet he had daddy duty or something, didn't he?
He got it.
It can happen.
It does happen. It does happen to the best of us.
To the best of us.
But so I'm gonna go ahead and
in the room.
Boy, Jeff been waiting on this day.
No, I have not.
You haven't?
I understand.
Well, let's just say God has a way of working things out. All right. And I'm telling you, you don't have to seek revenge yourself sometimes. The Bible tells us that vengeance is mine, thus saith the Lord. And looks like the boomerang has come back around the warrior lawyer's way. But I'm gonna go first. I'm the baby of the bunch. This is Jason S., the voice Gordon. I am a graduate of the most illustrious HBCU known to man, always in the top 2, and we ain't number 2. None other than the home of your Madam Vice President, Kamala Harris. That is the Mecca, Howard University. I am an HBCU grad. I am a father. I am a husband. I am an uncle. I am a son. And I am a brother to these 2, even though one ain't here, gentlemen on this podcast. Jeff, go on ahead and take it away.
All right, I'm going to go ahead and jump in. Jay Wendell says he's getting an invalid meeting link. He said he got an invalid meeting link. I think that's the same way, but okay. Anyway, there he is. Anyway, how you doing, ladies and gentlemen? This is Jeff Gordon with Brotherly Love, and we are right back at you once again. We're excited to be here. Today, we are talking small business. We're going to talk about small businesses. We're going to talk about the plight of small businesses. And we got the small business champion, Miss Denise Smith, who has a show, All Things Small Business. Did I get it right?
Yes, you did. Yes.
Yeah, there we go. So we're excited to have her on board. We got an exciting show. My name is Jeff Gordon. I'm a brother. I'm a father. I'm a son. I'm an HBCU grad from the Hampton University, the standard of excellence. And so we're excited to be here. And look who's showing up in the room.
He made that up. Hampton is not the standard of anything but Ukrainian.
It's the standard of excellence. Go ahead, Jay Wendell, take it away.
Hey, look, man, I'm just having a ball laughing. You said Hampton is not the standard of anything but Ukraine, but we see what the real standard is. Morgan State University, the baddest, the boldest, and you know this. I'm Jay Wendell Gordon, the warrior lawyer. I'm a dad, HBCU grad from the DMV. I'm a father, uncle, and brother to these 2 kings. Got a great show for you. We got Miss Denise on the jump, okay? Miss Denise, all right, we about to get it in. All right, so I'm going to pass it on to Jason. What's up, Jason? I'm going to log in.
Jason done gone. He done broke his hookah. Anyway, so Denise, why don't you come on in and introduce yourself?
Okay. Hey, everybody. First of all, let me just say thank you to Jason and Jeff and Jay Wendell and In Brotherly Love for inviting me on and for having me here to talk about such an amazing topic that's critical to society as we know it, to our county, to our state, to our country. I am just like you, I am an alumni of an HBCU, the baddest HBCU in the land, the Mecca of Howard University.
HU?
You know.
Even my son said it.
That's right. Raise them right. You know, I am a mother of two, and I am a business owner. I'm a business consultant. I am a community leader, an advocate, and I'm a teen mom. I'm a PTA president. I'm a, you know, I'm you name it. I'm the mom that is doing the mostest, and I'm just glad to be here. And you know, so I'm ready to rock and roll with this tonight.
Well, we really appreciate you taking time out of your busy schedule, and we do know you're busy. We see your
Yes.
signs all over the place, so we know you're running for that county council seat. But today we're here, we're gonna make it a little light. We're gonna talk about small businesses and all things small business. So getting into small businesses within the county, and I know a lot of politics, from the president on down to state and local politics, everybody talks about small business, and I too am a small business owner. As a matter of fact, all three of us on here, all four of us on here, are small business owners. But they talk about small business and why we're not getting our fair share and how they can help us get our fair share. And we've been hearing this for years and years and years. So what are your thoughts about small businesses getting their fair share, and what exactly is that fair share?
You know, so let me just say that I've been in county government. So I'm speaking from a Prince George's County perspective. Okay. So, and I'm county government for going on 20 years. The lion's share of my time in the county was spent in the Office of Central Services in the Supplier Development and Diversity Division, formerly known as the Minority Business Development Division, which is an office that existed because there was a disparity study that was done that said that there were not enough minority businesses getting access to contract opportunities. So they commissioned this office. They even had a Minority Business Opportunities Commission. That commission some kind of way kind of went away. But when I was there, I was in charge of outreach, education, and training. And I created the training program on the certification process for the county and how to leverage that certification to get increased access and how to navigate the procurement process in the county. And during that time that I was there for 9 years, and I watched on a regular basis how Black businesses would just get passed over or, you know, turned down, just not being supported the way that they needed to be. Now, government's priorities is reflected in their budgets. And our division did not have the budget to provide the support that these businesses really need. So
recording in progress.
There we go.
Yeah, you know, what we need is to be able to develop more partnerships, and we need to make sure the partnerships with larger companies and other entities, these organizations out here where we're partnering with them to help make sure that they get access to capital and access to training and how to build up their capacity, right? So their fair share, what does that fair share look like? I know that in the state of Maryland, I believe the goal is about 29% in total for minority businesses, right? In Prince George's County, it was some 30%, but in Prince George's County, we originally began focusing on minority businesses. And then sometime in 2017, there was a law created called the Jobs First Act that shifted the county's focus from minority businesses only to local businesses. And while that minority business factor plays a part, they really wanted to focus on, and I believe they really wanted to focus on you know, access for businesses that are actually headquartered in Prince George's County. That law is a great law with great intent, but there are some loopholes there because there are still some larger companies that may not be minority that still get access to those same preferences or those same benefits that's really designed for the minority business. So the fair share, I mean, we need to look at that a little more closely. And we need to make sure that what's happening in county government, but not only just county government, but also in the county, we need to make sure that the opportunities that are coming to the county, we see more of our local businesses getting access to those opportunities, including those private development projects, including the contract. And the law really does make an effort when it comes to county government contracts, because as it stands right now, contracts that are valued less than $500,000 are supposed to be 100% going to certified county-based small businesses. Any contract that's greater than $500,000 in value is supposed to be going, 40% of those contracts are supposed to, or the contract value is supposed to go to certified county-based small businesses. So the intent is there, but there's some things that are still falling through the crack, and that's just something we need to take a look at.
So my question for you, as a newer small business in Prince George's County, where do we start? Where do we start, and what is it that we're looking for?
Well, it really depends on what your business is, right? So when you get started, one of the things that I learned from working in that department is, before I started my business, I actually owned a certified minority woman-owned commercial photography company that focuses on construction and progress photos for construction companies, right? What I learned by going through the certification process for the state of Maryland, because I actually, kind of stumbled on this benefit, knowing what they say from working in the division, but actually going through the process. What I learned is that that certification, it puts your company's name on all these supplier directories, right? So then you have these companies that are looking for services like yours, calling you for quotes or any kind of opportunity to be a part of a contract, right? Once I had that first phone call from a construction company asking me for a quote for progress photos, it opened my eyes to the world of government contracting. So once I won a contract, it was the greatest thing in the world for me. It was a whole new thing. I started becoming a super advocate for trying to get people to look at government contracting, taking their businesses and seeing how they fit in the government space. And part of that process, I learned that I needed to find out where my customers are, right? So when you're starting, there's a little bit of research that you have to do. You need to find out who's going to buy what you sell, and whatever it is that you're providing, are people going to actually buy it, right? And as you find out whether or not you're creating a need for some need that needs to be filled, then you need to find out where the people are buying your stuff, right? So if you're opening or starting, and let's just for example, I know this is in the government contracting space, but if you're selling candles and you want to get it in a store, or you want to know what your pricing should be, then you need to go stalk some stores that sell candles and find out what their prices are. You need to stalk those customers. I know it sounds crazy, but stand outside the store, because listen, you can pay for this research, or you can do it yourself, right? So you can sit outside the store, and as the customers are coming out, you can talk to them about whether or not they buy or sell, buy your product, or what kind of products like yours they like, or what they're willing to pay for them. You can find out a lot of, you need to do a lot of research ahead of time before you start jumping into the water and trying to swim. You know what I'm saying? So the first thing you need to do is you need to just find your market share, and you need to know who buys what you sell. And then you need to find out where your customers are. So say, for example, for me, I'm a commercial photography company. So I know, or that specializes in progress photos, right? So I know that the state of Maryland, State Highway Administration, all of their construction projects require progress photos. So every so often, I go on their website, look at their construction solicitations, find out when their pre-bid conferences are, and then I attend those pre-bid conferences, right? Everybody in the room, that a pre-bid conference is after they post a solicitation on the website, they give an opportunity for anybody who's interested in bidding on that contract to come in and ask questions.
Real quick, Denise, don't mean to cut you off, but what website are we talking about? Because people may not know what website to go to.
So, well, okay, so for me, it was the State Highway Administration, right? Mm-hmm. But it depends on what you're selling. So if you're marketing yourself to the government, and if you're starting out small, another thing that I want to recommend, because the question was, how do we start? What do we do? What's our first steps? Really consider that getting certified with the state of Maryland, if you're a Maryland company or whatever state you're in, right? In Prince George's County, get that certification too. See, when I first went through that certification process in the state of Maryland, what I learned was that I could also take that certification over into Virginia and go through their certification process too, because your certification in your home state is actually transferable. And then I went over to WMATA and went through their DBE certification, that's Disadvantaged Business Enterprise certification. So I went through their process, and if you're certified with WMATA, then you're automatically certified with the DC Department of Transportation. If you're certified in Virginia, you're automatically certified with the Metropolitan Washington Airport Authority. So that means that one, I was certified in the DMV, but two, my company's name is on all of these different supplier directories that prime contractors go to look at when they have to fulfill minority business requirements. When they're bidding on these contracts, they have to meet these requirements in order to even be considered. And if they don't meet them, then their contract gets, is null and void, And so that's one thing. That's another thing that I would recommend. I would recommend you consider looking at certification. Even if you're not ready to get into the government space, get it, because one, it's free. Two, it costs you nothing but time. And two, eventually you might find yourself networking with someone who is at a business networking event where, somebody needs to find some sort of partnership or team up with somebody on some contract, and boom, you already have that certification. That means they need you in order to win the contract. So that's your leverage. That's your advantage. So yeah, that's just a few things that I'd start with.
So I know that, and I know you talked about a lot of certifications. I'm going to assume we're talking about the MBE certification, Minority Business Enterprise certification, which is the statewide certification. But then I know that transfers down to the county level. So going through these certifications, they take a bit of time, and there's some documentation that you need to have to kind of go through this. What should a small business do to prepare to go for these? Because I know you got to have your profit and loss statements. You got to have your, couple of years of taxes. So it's not just is it that you just jump in and you can get certified, or
nope. You're right. You're right. It does take time. In the state of Maryland, it can take anywhere from 3 to 5 months. I remember when they were building, I received mine in about 3 months. When they were building MGM, that whole process, everybody was trying to get certified. It slowed down 5 to 7 months, right? So what you need to do to get prepared, and what that certification, another benefit of getting certified is because when you're going through the process for your home state, and for us, that's Maryland, they ask you for so much documentation, so much information. You would think you're applying for a business loan, but it is a good thing, because one, the state is protecting the integrity of their program. Two, the information that they're asking you for is information that you as a business owner should be able to put your hands on. So for me, I found it to be a benefit because it got me organized in my business. Now, at that time, I had just decided to make my photography company a bona fide register with the state business, you know? So it wasn't a whole lot that I had to provide. For example, when they're asking you for your last 3 years in taxes, if you are just starting, then they're asking you for your last 3 years in personal taxes. Or if you've only been in business for a year, then if you've been in business for a long time, they're asking for your business taxes and your personal taxes for the state. But if you're just getting started and all you have is 1 year under your belt, then they're gonna, your 3 years of your personal taxes will suffice. So, but it's a lot of documentation. It's any kind of business licenses that's required for you to operate. Like you said, profit and loss statements. Now, if you're just getting started, that's not, you don't have any. But if, they're asking for things like, they want proof of how your business got started. They literally want a paper trail. They wanted to see, I had to show them the withdrawal slip of the $500 that I took out of my personal bank account to start my business account. They want everything. And they also want your personal net worth. So they want to know how much you're worth, because the program does cap out. You can't have a net worth of, I don't even know what it is. I don't even know what it is. I know it's like in the millions some kind of way, but I never knew what the money, I never paid attention to that because I'm not there. But but yeah, so yeah, there's a lot.
Jeff.
Really getting prepared is just getting that documentation together.
Good. So also,
what'd you say, Jason?
Huh?
I said, Jeff, they started asking about net worth. You know what I'm saying? Mr. Too Calm.
And you guys, I don't know what y'all talking about. Y'all talking about small business owners. Only reason why y'all small is because of the number of employees according to SBA standards. I know you guys, y'all big time. Y'all ain't no small business owners.
Oh, Jay Wendell only got one, what, 3?
We small. We all business.
Yeah, we all still small business in the scheme of things. So finding these opportunities, I know there's email and marketplace for the state. Whereas does that also apply to county opportunities, or is there a separate site you can go to for county opportunities?
Yes. So the Prince George's County is on email and marketplace, and I know that they have, but they also have a procurement website, which will have a list of all of their procurements, solicitations on the website. Email and marketplace is pretty popular for people around the state, but and I never really could get used to going on email and marketplace. I'm small time anyway, so I'm not focused on that as much as you guys are focused on your businesses. But the best place, when you are first getting into government contracting, I do also, and when you get certified, I recommend that you set up a meeting with the executive director, or just a vendor meeting with the procurement department, or for the jurisdiction that you want to start doing business with. Set up a meeting also with like the executive director of the supplier diversity office or their certification office, no matter what state or what county you're in. And it's always important to be, when you're preparing yourself for that meeting, to come with number one, business cards. You'd be surprised how many people don't show up with business cards, but your business cards, your capability statements, and be prepared with questions that you want to ask, and make sure that, you follow up with people, because what's going to end up happening is you'll have this conversation and they will point you in the direction of the agencies that kind of buy what you sell, And, you know, you got to make sure you follow through on their recommendations. I would also recommend setting up a vendor appointment with the procurement department and ask for what's going to happen. At least in Prince George's County, what happens is when you set up a vendor appointment, they will, you know, ask you what type of service or product you're selling, and then they will pair you up with the procurement officer that deals with the agency that buys those types of goods and services. And then the supplier diversity office, or they will connect with the supplier diversity office to make sure that there's a representative there or a business analyst there to be a part of that meeting, you know, to give you the perspective of both departments, because the procurement office and the supplier diversity office, they do work together. And the supplier development office, when I was there, they really did, you know, advocate on behalf of certified companies to make sure that these contracts had the correct amount of participation. You know, it just, you know, oftentimes it didn't work out that way. But, yeah. You know, and here's another thing that I want to add to that, you know, too, because when you are, when you come to the supplier development and diversity division and you want to express that you're not getting these contracts, right? They try to work through a lot of those issues. And then when a contract comes up, you know, the companies that fit that, you know, that mold, they don't end up bidding on the contract, right? You know, you can't win if you don't bid, you know, or if you don't try, right? Because I remember something like that happening when I was there. We had these little kind of gripe sessions, if you will, with some companies. And we had a lot of television production or video productions type companies. We had a meeting with them to talk about the types of issues that they would have. And we worked with the procurement department because we knew that that service was needed in some agency in the county. And we worked with the procurement department to get a solicitation to put together. And then we put it out. And then we had so many companies. We had like 20 companies come to that pre-bid conference. And we were really excited. And nobody bid.
Well, was that a function of the solicitation itself, or?
It could have been. It could have been.
I mean, sometimes
it could have been, but we need to know that.
Well, I mean, do you say you need to know? I mean, I know I've been to some of those solicitation conferences, and I've seen some of the companies in the room. I've even put in the bids, and just to be told, well, you know, we selected this other company, because they had resources to get in and have the FaceTime with folks that I didn't necessarily have. This is when I was just getting started, and I was trying to get these contracts with the state and the county. So it's real tough, you know, investing dollars into this thing where it's like, okay, I'm just going to keep getting passed over. I go to the debrief conference just to hear that I may have missed it by a couple of dollars or a couple of $1,000. Like, we couldn't have a best and final offer. I mean, where are we at on this?
I can't hear you. Oh, you're muted. Somebody cut you off.
Jason cut me off?
My bad. I was look, my bad. You're gonna have to ask that again. I was trying to catch the echo and I muted the wrong person. Go ahead, my brother.
So I was saying that, you know, a lot of times we put in the time and the effort and then we're unsuccessful in these bids. So I'm not going to continue to do this over and over again if I continue to be unsuccessful at putting in these bids. So by the time I get to another pre-bid conference where you may be sitting there, or this council may be sitting there, I'm looking at the solicitation and I'm looking at the effort it's going to take to write it, because it costs money to write these solicitations. They're not free. It's more than just time. People's salaries go into these solicitations on the average of $10,000 to $15,000, $20,000, depending on the size of the bid per month, on a chance that you might win. There's no guarantee. So you got to tell the best story amongst everybody who's in there. So sometimes while you're excited about seeing 20 or 30 people in a solicitation, I'm looking at that and saying, what's the reality of me being in that top 3 or top 5? It's like, I'm a small business. I see these larger companies in here. Is this a best use of my BNP dollars, which is bid and proposal dollars? So,
but you can't win if you don't play. Like we say in the courtroom, like if you fight, you might lose, but if you don't fight, you're guaranteed to lose. So
well, it's not. It's more or less picking and choosing my battle. Like I may go to another conference and it's only 5 bidders in the room. I'm going after that one because I think I have a better chance.
If you're in a room of 20 people, is it most likely that only 10%, 15% will actually participate in the bid, or will all 20 of them bid?
I think it really depends. I think it really depends. You know, a lot of the companies that I've seen come into that office, a lot of them are looking for assistance. Some of them don't have the capacity. Some of them may just come to learn. You know, it's not every contract is not for you to bid on, you know, and it is a learning opportunity. So, you know, I think it's worth your time attending those types of meetings to see, you know, who else is in the room, because you never know who's in the room that you can do business with. Right. And sometimes those there's somebody in that room that you can team up with and partner with, you know, and have a better chance of winning the contract, you know, I mean, because those are options too. So it just really depends. It really depends on where you are in your business and how badly you want it.
Okay.
Yeah.
So how volatile is securing a contract? I mean, you start from nothing and you say, okay, here's this RFP. I'm gonna put this proposal together and spend all night and day on it. What really, and I guess just kind of shifting gears a little bit, but what really impresses me is that someone can out there, my brother necessarily, who I'm speaking of, Jeff, can see a contract and be like, yo, I'm going after that contract and I feel like I'm gonna get it. Like, where does that come from when you know you have to compete with, I don't know, 10, 20, maybe hundreds of others? Where does that instinctive feeling, do you just will yourself to contract? Like, how does that happen? Because it seems like it's a tough business to have to do business on RFPs.
It is a tough business, and RFP is a very complex vehicle, and it's not for the new. I don't believe that it is for the new business owner. Okay. Because if you have to build up your capacity, you have to build up your past performance, you know, you really have to be able to read that solicitation. And that's another thing. You got to read the solicitation, right? Yeah, because it's a lot in there. And a lot of times they're boilerplated. And sometimes they really, you know, they need to be a little updated sometimes. So I'm just going to keep it real. But you know your strengths and your weaknesses. You know where you are in your business. You know, you got to read the solicitation and you got to be honest with yourself, you know, and, you know, you check with some folks, you know, and you consult with your business mentors or your colleagues or other businesses like yours, or see if it's you know, because there is advice, you know, that you can get from other people who may have already gone through the same experience. You can learn from them. So it's really depending on where you are in your business. I think the RFP is, you know, if you're just starting out, don't think you coming in there being a prime contract, because you haven't built up the work and just doing the work by working for and being an employee of another company. It counts, but not always, you know. So it really depends on where you are in your business.
Jay, when I know you like boxing, so I would liken it to, you know how boxers kind of set up their fights as they come up through the ranks, and they choose their fights. And so they take on a fight. They're pretty confident they're going to win that fight, but it's still going to be a good fight. And then they do win that fight, so then they take on the next fight. And they're pretty confident that they're going to win at that level. And then they win that level. And then they go to the, and next thing you know, you're in the championship round. And at this point, you've had all the experience behind you. So when you get into that championship round, you're not thinking, ain't nobody going in there to lose. So when we get into that fight, we plan to win. And so a lot of what we do is building ourselves up. You know, we take on jobs, they may be small jobs, maybe 1 or 2 person jobs that get some past performance, or we may work with a larger company to get that past performance. So that's the earlier fights that we would take on. As we get, you know, as we get bigger and we got more fights on our belt, we start to take on more challenging opponents. So, and then from that, you learn how to read these RFPs, which by the way, are requests for proposals. So I learned to go through the RFP and say, okay, and I can say it, Denise may not be, but I'll say, okay, this thing is wired. It's got too much specific language in it. It's not really a level playing field. There's no reason for me to go after because it's already slated for somebody. So or if I do some research on it, I'm like, okay, well, who's the incumbent? Are they doing a good job? Do they like the incumbent? Did they just put this out because they want to get the incumbent again, but they have to make it look right? So that's a lot of what you're dealing with as a small business in the government side of it. But it also takes a lot of marketing yourself. So you have to go and get in the face of these people. And that's where it gets tough for small businesses, because a lot of times we're in the business, we're only a couple of people, we don't have the time. You know, when you get to the point, like social media has kind of leveled that a little bit, especially for you. I mean, I've seen the way you use social media and people are coming to you now, but there was a time when you got to go out and get these jobs and you can't go get the job while you're working the job. So it's a lot of that getting into it. After being into it for a while, you kind of build up your stamina, you build up your fights, you take on more challenging opponents, and you win. And keep going.
That was a great analogy. I understood every bit of that.
So you wasn't understanding anything I said.
Well, I understand when he broke it down, because they always like these, like, oh, we got this multi-million-dollar contract, and I'm like, yeah, that's beautiful, because I don't count money unless I have it, but he just knows he can get it and be like, yo, I got that. I said, damn, you got that?
So,
and you know, but I think the big thing now for businesses is to learn how to team up with people, because you know that can be your foot in the door into that and certification. And I know some people don't think that certification certification does not mean instant contract. That's not what it's for. It is meant to level the playing field a little bit, right? So if a non-minority company and a certified minority company bid $100,000 on the contract, and all things being equal, they meet the minimum technical scores, the minority company is going to win the contract, because they're going to discount down their pricing. Doesn't mean that they're going to let's just say it was a 10% preference points that they get. That means that all things being equal, it would be as if the minority company bid 90,000 and the minority company bid 100,000. So the minority company would win the contract. Doesn't mean he's going to get paid 90,000. He's going to get paid 100,000. It just means that he gets those 10% points on his pricing. It's always down to the pricing, at least in Prince George's County.
I didn't understand what you said.
You didn't understand what I said? Oh my God.
You gotta put it in boxing terminology.
No, I was trying to, because I was thinking you were going to say, when you said 90,000 versus 100,000, that's where I kind of got lost. Can you just?
I'm gonna say that one more time.
And maybe I'm sure it's my fault and not because of how you explained it.
Okay. Let me just take another sip, because maybe I can explain it differently.
You probably explained it just fine. It missed me.
Okay. So here we go.
The red wine interpreter.
You got your minority company.
Right.
You got your non-minority company. The non-minority company bids 100,000 on a contract. His pricing is 100,000.
Right.
The minority company bids 100,000. The certified minority company is going to win the contract because of his certification status, because the certification will give him 10% or 10 preference points toward his pricing. So it will be as if he bid 90,000, and as if the non-minority company bid. Okay, let me just put this up. It's as if the white company bid 100,000 and the black company bid 90,000.
There you go. Make it plain. Make it plain.
I hear the 10 preference points. So
Right. It's the preference points.
okay.
He's going to get paid $100,000, but that certification gives him a credit towards his pricing in terms of what he submitted. So he's out. The certification gave him a leg up, you know, and which would count toward that disparity study, you know, the disproportionate amount of or the lack of contracts going towards these minority companies.
Okay. So I don't know. We have a question in our chat, and if the question is can federal employees bid on government contracts?
What, state government or local government?
No, you cannot.
So no, it said can. Well, it does. The question is just that's the way it's written.
Wait a minute, read the question one more time. I'm sorry.
I'm reading it verbatim. Can federal employees bid on government contracts?
Doesn't it depend on which government he's talking about, right?
Federal. He said federal.
Well, I don't know if you can. I don't think so. But if they have a company, I can't imagine why. If they own a company,
it's an inherent conflict of interest.
If say for instance, if somebody who works for the Department of Transportation wants to work on Prince George's County transportation,
right? I believe you can do that.
You can do that. Yes.
So myself as a county government employee, I cannot bid on county government contracts, but I can bid on state government contracts. I can, you know, I'm not on that federal level. That's too big time for me, Jeff. That's all.
No, for federal to federal, you cannot, and they're real strict and funny about it because federal employees can't accept, so you can't really bid on a contract as an employee. And a lot of times, when you separate from the federal government, they have like a cooling off period of a year or 2 years or whatever it is that your separation period is before you come back and start bidding on those contracts. So theoretically, no, you can't federal to federal. Now, federal to state or federal to county. Yeah, you can do that because it's outside of it. I believe you can do that because it's outside of it. But as a federal employee, an active federal employee bidding on an active federal contract, I don't believe you can.
And the same applies to Prince George's County. There is, you know, what you call a cooling off period. There's a time frame. I'm not quite sure what that is. It may be 6 months, it may be a year that you cannot do business with the county.
Now I got a question on the enforcement aspect of it. So you got this small business, you teamed up with a business that's not so small. You've done all the work they asked you to do, worked all the late hours, paid your employees, generated debt, so on and so forth, with your lines of credit to make sure that the business can continue to run and your employees can continue to produce for the general employer. You don't get paid. The general employer gets his check from the government, but you don't get paid. What are your enforcement rights? What is the procedure for filing a complaint and having the government assist you in getting your money from the general contractor?
There is a process that you go to when you're not getting paid. So now let me just back this up because you're talking about the actual prime contractor not getting paid by the government.
No, the prime has been paid, but the subcontractor, which happens to be the minority contractor, they use the minority contractor in their request for proposal. The minority contractor showed up, 5-star, accountability and reputation, brought in excellent people to do the work, got the job done, better than they expected, perhaps. But the prime gets paid for the work, but he doesn't pay the sub. What is the sub to do? Is he in a fight all on his own against this major prime or this prime contractor, or is there a vehicle or process that he can pursue in order to get his money?
Yes, there is. Go ahead, Jeff. Let me hear what you got to say.
I'm gonna tell you what, from my understanding and the real of it, is we're gonna have to call Jay Wendell because the contract is with the sub and the prime. The contract is not with the sub and the government, even though they're doing work on behalf. You can file agreements, but the government, at least from my understanding, is limited in what they're going to do to the prime, other than, slap them on the wrist, say you need to pay your people. I know federally you can go to SBA and they have a little bit of, I'm sure that there's a OSDBU office for Prince George's County or a small business office for PG County you could probably go to that might have a little bit of the bite, but in reality, the bare bones facts of it is your contract is with that company and another company, and the government is going to be reluctant to jump in between that.
So therein lies my concern. And Denise, you are running for office, and I'm not going to let them take that away from you. You are campaigning very hard to become a delegate in Prince George's County. What types of legislation would you like to see, or would you even spearhead to ensure that minority contractors, subcontractors are not being bullied and pinched and subjecting themselves to involuntary servitude on behalf of prime contractors? What can we do to add teeth into the currently existing legislation, or what new legislation should be enacted to protect these businesses, small businesses?
So yes, absolutely. I would be willing to spearhead legislation that impacts that. I am not 100% clear on what protocols are in place, and if there's even a law that addresses that. I know there is on the state level, but in Prince George's County, that are in place really are about, the level in the playing field, right? Who can get the benefits of the certification and the preference points and the local companies and that kind of thing, right? But I absolutely would want to look at getting some legislation in place, if that's even possible, because that's something that I would need to have more research on. But because we hear of that so often, there is a process for you to make inquiries about it. But just like Jeff said, I believe it is the same here. Your contract is with the prime, and there is some sort of mitigation that you can take up with the county. But when it comes down to it, I'm not sure how much that is going to help. But what I do want to see is I want to see enforcement in areas, and how quickly not only do the subs get paid, but the primes too, because there's issues with that as well, right? But when we're talking about the small business level, there are laws that are in place that are designed to impact them in a positive way and making sure that they're getting access to those opportunities. But there's loopholes there that make it so that some companies that are not minority or not small can still get those same benefits. There's measures that are in place that, and there's no real enforcement, or more enforcement is needed. Because you can, and then even when you get the law on the books, you can have whatever law you want to in place. It is implementation that really makes it work. And so as someone who has been advocating on behalf of small businesses and somebody who wants to see them be more successful, that's why I also want to create a small business advisory committee, because to help me shape policy and look at these issues, so that we can really make sure that the laws are working for them the way that they're supposed to. And yes, we see that all the time.
And so we've seen it all the time for so many years, but no one has really stepped up. And maybe that's where you come in as someone who's vying for a position in state government, in our legislature. Because I'm tired of seeing things all the time. You know what I mean?
Tired of seeing the same old stuff.
I want to see things all the time. I want things to get right. You know what I mean? And so that's where I am.
Jay Wendell, that was a great pivot that you made. So we see your signs all over. I'm gonna speak on personal on a personal note. I see your signs all over my neighborhood. Okay. You even in some non-advantageous places in my neighborhood. So what is you running for? Huh? What is you running for? What is your platform? Since you got the signs all over the place, speak on that thing. What you finna do?
So my name is Denise Smith. I'm running for county council for District 6.
County council, I'm
Be
sorry.
the 6th district representative on the Prince George's County Council.
So then you really be in a position to do something about it then.
Oh, absolutely. I'm vying for someone who can create legislation.
Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So give us your platform. Talk to us.
I find it very disquieting that an African-American owned business is struggling to survive in Prince George's County. I remember when Donnell was going through it at Old Town Inn. I mean, he was having the blues with some matter that was going on within his establishment. He was reaching out to all the local representatives, and they all go there to eat. But when he was having the problem, it seemed like he got very little to no support. I can't remember what Darnell's last name is, but he owns
Long.
What is it?
Long.
That's right. And he had another place out in Largo or something.
He did.
It was just very very disappointing that he didn't get the support that he needed from the legislature to kind of help him with his situations. And he's been a businessman who could have gone to DC, could have come to Baltimore, could have gone to Howard County, he could have gone anywhere he wanted, but he chose Prince George's County. And I think that Prince George's County needs to be more supportive of individuals like him who run into bumps in the road. They need to be more accessible and more willing to engage and not talk about, the things that they wish they could do or they claim they don't have any control over. So that's another thing that I'd like to see in our local legislators.
I agree. Prince George's County, we want Prince George's County to be a business-friendly environment. And there are some hurdles, some challenges that need to be addressed. Particularly, I want to look at what's happening over in the enforcement and the the inspection, DPI, permitting, the permitting process. That those are areas that I do want to help. And I do believe that our small businesses that are here in the county, a lot of times the small businesses that are here are, we know that the small businesses are backbones of our communities and that kind of thing. And it's how we keep the dollars in the community. And there are definitely challenges and issues that need to be addressed. And I do want to help in that area. That is, I know that DPI was actually created as a way to kind of bring all of the organizations that had something to do with getting a project done or getting, your business started in one place. And I do hear on the ground that there's still issues there. And I definitely want to look at that, look at those issues. So it's definitely some improvement, some work that we need to have done, in that area. So yeah, absolutely.
Well, I'm gonna jump in because like others, I chose Prince George's County to move my business. We're in Baltimore. We moved down to Prince George's County. Being in Prince George's County and trying to maneuver through their procurement process, I do find it was a bit of a challenge. I can tell you the MBE process, for what it was to go through it and the benefit that I saw for the type of business that I do, I think was a bit of a struggle. Now I do know other MBEs and they've done well. But one of the problems that I had with the MBE was it only sets you up to be a sub. It doesn't really set you up to be a prime. If I bid on an MBE contract, being certified as an MBE, that doesn't necessarily count. Unless that rule is changed, that doesn't count towards the MBE goal. So just little things within there, the enforcement of it, when I was going through it, when I was going after these, the county bids, there were companies all over the place saying, we can't find any MBEs that can do the work. And I'm like, well, because you close your eyes and said, what?
That's right. That's right. That's right. That's right.
You can't say that they're not there because I'm sitting in these meetings, in these pre-proposal conferences, it might be 15 MBEs and 5 large companies, and this thing will come out and the large companies may win it and they'll say, well, we couldn't find any MBEs to do the work. And I think that's quite unfair because really no real enforcement. Like there's no real teeth. Like 8A, the 8A program at the federal level is a contract vehicle. You get on it, you can be the prime, you can sub. There's some enforcement because the federal will say, okay, we can pull this contract away if you don't meet your goals. But there's no real enforcement, I find, at the state and local levels. And I would like to see, and that's one of the reasons, because when we talked, you talked so much about MBE, I felt as though you had a passion for enforcing these programs and making sure that these smaller businesses will get their fair share. But I've seen a lot. I know a lot because I've seen a lot. And so I think that there's great opportunity here, especially with you on board, to really get in here and get some teeth behind this program. I would like to see that for this county, even if they come out with something like a countywide like Maryland had cats. If they get a countywide contract vehicle that they can put in place. I mean, I'm familiar with them, so if you need help with it, I can help you out with it. But we can put that together so that you put it out. So there's a vehicle that companies that are already vetted. You just go and pick the companies, pick 2 or 3 of them, and have your competition that way. 20 people in a room is not, for a small business, it's not, I'm not looking at that thinking that I have a high probability of win, which is our P win. 5 people in a room, I feel as though I have a better P win. So I would go after that. So that's why you may see a lot of people come out, but they're looking at the room and they're like, it's going to cost me money to write this proposal. And I promise you, they're not cheap, and it's all overhead dollars. So that means there's no money coming in behind it. It's just money that you spend. So they're not cheap. So if there was a better competition, you know, if I was already on a contract vehicle and you picking 5 companies from that vehicle, then fine. I would bid on that. But 20 people, I don't know. I don't know if I would bid on that based on
at one point there was a CATS vehicle in Prince George's County. I'm not up on whatever happened to that, but they did eventually create one. And you know, to my understanding, they did a lot of participation, but I'm not quite sure what happened to it.
It didn't go out on CATS. The work went out through other ways, but it wasn't going out on that vehicle.
Right. But then, and now I also know that the county is now currently trying to put in place a supply schedule. So
give me a call. I can help what they need. I can help.
Right. You know, so I really want to take a closer look at that because, you know, I don't want to say the wrong thing, but, you know, sometimes things take time to get it right. And sometimes we're not always up to speed on different things, you know. But I know that they are creating that and what typically what you find in Prince George's County is they start something, we'll start something. I say we will start something. But you know, we got to kind of work out the kinks, right? And
talk to some business owners.
Intention is there. Look, in my heart, maybe, you know, in my heart, the intention is there, right? So
more than intent.
Something that is just launching. So I don't expect it to be perfect.
To some business owners out there, I haven't seen an advisory council for anything like that, where you talking to business owners and say, hey, how does this work? And supply schedules really come, that sounds like a GSA thing, which is on the federal level. So talk to those companies already on the supply schedule.
And I think that would be awesome if they could get that up and running and get it right, you know. But you know, as you know, I mean, I don't know how other jurisdictions are, but I know that Prince George's County, we're kind of, you know, we're catching up on things usually like all the time. So, you know, it's going to take some time to get it working correctly and getting all the issues worked out. So
you and Madam also Brooks, y'all need to reach out to these businesses that are in the county.
Yes, absolutely. And when I become counselor, you're gonna be on my advisory board. So.
I got you.
Hey, well, this has been very, very, very informative. For those of y'all that are small business owners, don't be no punks about it. If you see a contract, go for a contract. Get your certifications. Get your weight up. You know what I'm saying? And put your bid in. don't be soft just because you see 20 people in the contract and you're like, I ain't gonna get it.
He call you soft.
I said what I said. I said what I said.
Oh, okay. Well, let's see you do it then.
Look, all I got to say is, you can never cut your arms off before you reach. Okay, never cut your arms off before you reach.
That sounds like 2 digs.
Is that new? Is that new?
Now, I don't know. I think the way Jeff explained it is that look, you kind of know these. Analogizing boxing again, you know where your chances of winning are. You're not gonna go in the ring with Mike Tyson if you just started boxing 6 months ago. So
I will if that check big enough.
No, you won't. You get your whole brain knocked out.
And I'll be a one and done fighter. But that check,
if you spending it from a wheelchair, you ain't gonna be happy. You be spending it from. I like your analogy, Jay.
All money ain't good money. And like Jeff said, it does. You can't. These things aren't just something you just stay up all night and do. You got to pay people to do it. So it costs money to really bid, as he explained it to us.
yeah,
They're very costly. So you don't want to, you don't want to engage in the act of futility either. You want to know that once you put all this time and effort into a bid, that you have a reasonable probability of winning that bid, even if it's not certainty. You have a reasonable probability. So I get it. I
agree.
Hey.
So we're gonna end it right here on In Brotherly Love before these guys start going back and forth. I see
we about to get in.
Mind like this. I'm gonna come back. I'm gonna say something else. I'm
gonna let it ride.
That's all right. We're gonna read right back at you next week. Denise Smith, look, we love you a lot. We wish you all the best when you get out here and we go to vote on July 19th. Ladies and gentlemen, July 19th, when we go out and vote on the primary. And if you live in District 6, look, you're looking at a prime candidate. Make sure she has your vote. Denise, we thank you for your knowledge that you imparted with us tonight with regard to contracting, minority business, and how we can stay afloat in these tumultuous times and really give some fight into the things that we're doing. Hopefully we'll all muster up the courage of Jason to go after these bids, but we got to be smart about it, man. We don't have to be kicked around the room 20 times before we realize where we're supposed to be and where we fit into the entire process. Nonetheless, my name is Jay Wendell Gordon, the Warrior Lawyer, and as I said, we'll be right back at you next week, and I'll pass it on to somebody else.
Well, I'm gonna go ahead and jump in. So we're gonna leave the last word for Jason because I guess he's gonna have the last word today. I see.
You better not give him the last word. He's gonna tee off on
you. He can tee off, but the proof is in the pudding. That's all I say.
Hey.
The method works. Trust the process. So if you want to get out there and get, like Jay Wendell said, you just started boxing 6 months ago. You might not want to fight Floyd. I don't care how big the check is, because you can't. It doesn't do no good to have all that money and you sitting in a wheelchair. Rolling around, really getting along. So be smart about it, ladies and gentlemen. This is not for the faint at heart. So definitely be smart about it. Do your research. There's a lot of effort that goes into these things. I know we see people, when you hear about these awards, those are just the results. Those are the results of 18 months to 24 months of work every day, grinding out, getting the intel that you need so that you can write a compelling story. So it's not for the faint at heart, regardless of what Jason might think.
You got to bring some ass to get some ass.
But this is Jeff Gordon, and we got tools for you to use. I know we didn't get into a lot about how to get the businesses started. We're going to touch back on that again. For those who have an idea and they want to know how to get registered with the state, they want to know how to get certified. We're going to talk about all of that in future shows, but this is Jeff Gordon. We'll be right back at you next week. Go ahead, Jason. What you got?
I'm not gonna poke the bear no more. I'm gonna let it ride. You know what I'm saying? Hey, like Jeff and Jay Wendell said, we'll be right back at you. Right now, we're thinking about a very tantalizing topic, which could be questions for high value men next week. So, ladies, if you those of y'all that are watching, we gonna make it juicy next week.
Who's a high value man?
It might get a little grimy. If you have some questions, if you have some questions that you would like to ask the Gordon brothers, send them to our message us on Facebook in Brotherly Love, I'm gonna be honest with you. We are going to sift through the questions, but we ain't gonna run from many. But we're gonna sift through them, and we're gonna make sure that we have a tantalizing topic for you next week to go along with all of these tools that you can use.
Well, Jason, you know, you play silly games, you win silly prizes. So
Hey,
be careful.
sometimes silly prizes may be worth it in the end, because sometimes silly prizes can be heirlooms in the end.
Don't ask no questions you don't really want the answer to.
Denise,
All right.
what's up?
We
Denise,
ain't
go ahead.
scared.
Denise, take us out.
Oh man, thank you so much for having me in Brotherly Love, Jay Wendell Gordon, Jeff Gordon, Jason Gordon. I love being here. I'm in my element when I'm talking about small businesses. I like the topic about how to get started. I also give free trainings on how to get certified with Prince George's County and how to navigate the procurement process. So if you are interested in anything like that, or would like to contact me, you can always reach out to me on Instagram. I'm at Vote Denise Smith. And on Facebook, I'm at Vote Denise Smith. And on Twitter, I'm at Vote Denise Smith. And so thank you again for giving me the opportunity. I am asking people for their votes. Make sure you vote, no matter who you vote for. Just make sure you vote.
Well, you get your votes now. Shit.
Yeah, get my votes. Get my votes. Come on now. Come on now.
You ain't got no choice. Okay.
That's right.
That's what it is.
That's right. That's right.
Check this out, Denise. You said you get free
training. Yes, free training. Let me tell you something.
Because, you know, what I found out about Prince George's, at least in the legal field, is very incestuous. You know, they get these folks that they've been in bed with for years, and they stay in bed with them, and it's hard to join that room. You know what I mean? So, you know,
well, listen, you know, look, I feel like we get into another conversation, but what I want to say is that, you know, you don't have to pay somebody to help you get certified. The Supplier Diversity Office gives free trainings on how to get certified. So I'm not going to charge you, but some people still don't want to have to go through the process. So if you don't want to go through the process when you know that you can do it by yourself, you can certainly pay me. I do take payments on helping you get certified, but I give you free trainings on how to get certified so that you don't have to pay nobody to get certified, because it's not that difficult. It really isn't.
Outstanding.
All right.
So we're going to cut it right here, and I'm going to let it go, gentlemen.
Hey,
right back at you. This is in Brotherly Love.
it's good to see you, Jay Wendell.
You know, I try to do what I can do when I can do it. I was
Hey,
having
look.
some technical difficulty, but I made it through.
Hey, look, you notice Jay Wendell ain't got no suit on today, so you can definitely tell it was a hard day at the
Well, you
OK.
know, I got this big murder trial on Monday.
I did see that.
All these books behind me right there. I've been studying all of that.
Hey, look, hey, and those of y'all
Plus
that on
videos.
if you got a TikTok account, check out Jay Wendell's TikTok.
Man.
And if you could, give Jeff a follow so that he can go live, because Jeff don't have no followers. He just like pitiful. And we want Jeff to be live so that we can have this show live, not just on Facebook, but on TikTok. And we want to keep the party going. We want to utilize all of our social media resources. So follow us on Facebook, follow us individually on TikTok, and follow us on YouTube, because we do have a YouTube channel where we post all of our episodes as well. Subscribe. Comment, like, and share. Share with your friends, because we're always trying to help the community, and we're giving you tools that you can use from an educated Black male perspective. And we're thankful for all of you all that tuned in tonight, and we out.
All right.
Peace.